All right. You know where you are. This is the Plug Podcast, Music and More with Bushy and Metal Mike. And Scapegoat is back with us. How we
Yeah,
doing,
I just
brothers?
flew in, kind of tired.
Flew
Super
in,
Dave,
kind of tired.
Super Scape.
Where's my rim shot?
I know.
All right, man. So yeah, I thought it would be cool. Scape's been kind of anxious or eager to do another episode, and I thought, well, look, man, we got the whole
Found it.
Black Sabbath The End show coming on July 5th. And I don't know, there's speculation there. Aren't even sure if Ozzy's even going to be able to do any songs. We don't know yet. But I just thought what would be cooler, be topical to do kind of like with our Megadeth retrospectives, we're going to do Ozzy era, Sabbath retrospective. Remember the Sabbath and keep it black right here on the Plug Podcast, bitches. And that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
in honor of Ozzy and Black Sabbath.
Bill Ward finally getting some recognition.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Bill Ward to me,
Bill
yeah,
Ward.
yeah. Don't even get me started on it.
Yeah, I could go on a tangent about that.
Well,
I was going to say, of all the times you should be going on a tangent about Bill Ward, this is the show to do it.
Yeah,
it is true, big brother.
I felt really like Bill's just got shit on for not. I guess shit on's too harsh, but kind of taking a back seat to everybody else.
Taken for granted.
Yeah, taken for granted. Doesn't really get the accolades he should get.
Ignored, not invited to do the album.
Yeah, just not good. I think
he was invited. It's just they didn't want to.
But it goes deeper with me after reading the books because Bill was the blunt of a lot of their jokes and shit. I mean, I only set Bill on fucking fire. With that cleaner shit that for the tapes in the studio. What did he do? Do you remember? He like sprayed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna set you on fire, Bill. Just messing with it. He sprayed the cleaner on
it.
Yeah,
but Bill was always getting fucked with. He was like the butt of all the jokes, and
he ended up getting pretty bad, man. That was during the making of Heaven and Hell, I believe. Ozzy wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. Ozzy wasn't with him at that point, but I think Ozzy, or maybe Iommi mentioned it in his book.
Yeah,
I can't.
He
remember.
did. He felt really bad about it.
Oh yeah, I would hope.
But here's the thing about it.
Sorry about the third degree burns.
Another thing that bothers me about the whole Bill Ward thing is like a while back I saw a really cool Netflix documentary about all these great drummers. Nowhere in this fucking documentary is Bill Ward even mentioned. I mean, you got Bonham, you got Keith.
Oh, that pissed me off too, dude.
Because there's an actually really cool Black Sabbath exclusive podcast. That's all they talk about, called Into the Void. And they talk about all eras of Sabbath and all the solo albums by any member of Sabbath. So they got plenty of material. I always wanted to do a Sabbath podcast and call it Remember the Sabbath, but I digress. Anyway, they talked about how fuck, now you made me fucking forget what I was gonna say, asshole.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I know what it was. One of the guys said he was a drummer. He goes, to me, Bill Ward was Keith Moon meeting John Bonham. He had the thunder and the heaviness of Bonham, but he was all over the place and just batshit crazy on the drums like Moon was. And I'm like, whoa, I never thought about it like that before. And I thought, man, I think Bill would totally welcome that compliment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I think Sabbath fans know how amazing Bill is. I mean, but it does seem like he kind of gets marginalized when you talk about the other like drummers and rock and metal. And it bothers me, man. It fucking triggers me, man. All right?
Yeah, I love Bill Ward. And I think he's a really, like all the interviews, he's just, not that all the guys aren't themselves or appear to be themselves in front of the camera or, in the spotlight, but Bill just comes off really genuine.
Authentic.
Yeah, extremely honest to a fault, maybe almost.
Right.
So I really like Bill for that, as much as a person, human being, as I do his musical contributions.
I struggle to think what those first 8 albums would sound like without him.
Without Ward?
Yeah.
That's like saying what would Zeppelin sound like to me without Bonham.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's other drummers that I know that could adequately do it.
Mhm.
but there's a feel that would be missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that swing, that jazzy
Mm.
swing, that groove.
And I love the fact too that Bill played with just essential, like a basic kit, like
Yeah.
especially from the early, later, the kits got bigger than that with him. But like in the early recordings, like the first album, early years of Sabbath, it was just like a standard 5 piece. Like there was nothing fancy going on there.
Yeah.
Not what we got today at all. Like
It,
the advantages modern drummers have now. But I
Right.
mean,
dude, I couldn't agree more. And I'll tell you something else, brother.
Ward was getting some shit done back there.
I've actually had drummers, like, the guy you used to drum in your band for a while, Chris Douglas. Even when he saw some of the old footage of Sabbath, he's like, "How in the fuck is he doing that on a standard kit? How did he do that?"
Not just
And,
him, there was a lot of guys back in the, they made the most of what they had, and
yes,
Ward was definitely that. And I loved how he kind of defines himself as like he orchestrated things, that he wasn't a conventional player.
Right.
And, which that's another reason I love him. He kind of he played outside the box,
And it's interesting you bring that up because I remember watching those old videos. They had the videos for Paranoid. It is the one that comes to mind. And that's a very stripped down kit.
Yeah.
And it was okay. Like that. And when I say okay, it's like almost like, yeah, you have my permission to do that. I have a Cinderella concert DVD, and Fred Coury is playing on a stripped down kit like that. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Cinderella was like at their peak. This is off the Long Cold Winter tour. Why is he playing on this crappy little home kit? I was
right. Yeah.
But I could look at those old clips of Sabbath live, that old video, and it's like, hey, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, man. And yeah, I mean, I love all those old, like, huh?
I met Fred Coury.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first Rockin' Pod I went to, he was in line. He was at the
no,
punchlines and backlines.
It wasn't Fred Coury.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was a guitar player. It was
Oh, it was Fred. Whoever he was, he was fucked up.
how's that guitar player's name from Cinderella? Oh my God, I can't remember it. But that's who you met because I was pissed off because he was in line and everybody's posting these pictures standing next to him. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he passed away like a year later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I missed out on ever getting to meet that guy. Jeff LaBar. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one you met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Fred, but okay.
No, because believe me, I was like, I don't think I've been more envious of anything. I mean, Ian in the dress with the Vinnie Vincent makeup, whatever. It's Wadzilla. I've met him. You meet him once, it's the same no matter what. But Jeff LaBar was just there to see the show. Right. Everybody got to meet him and hang out and get pictures. Man, I was like rage jealous at that. I was like that I wasn't at that one. And that's the only one I missed. And I'm here to tell you why. That is why it's the only Rocket Pod I miss. Because I want to be on that strip when somebody that I've worship is a strong word that I've idolized my whole life and really respect as a musician walks in just because they want to check out the show. I don't want to ever miss an opportunity like that again.
Yeah.
I hear you, man.
I get that.
But yeah, we are here to talk about the almighty Black Sabbath.
Sabbath.
It has been fun listening to these 4 albums. I wasn't as familiar with Volume 4 as I thought, but I was familiar with Volume 4. As I was listening to that, there was a couple that I was like, whatever.
Right.
It's Sabbath. But those first 3 specifically, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And, just jotted some quick notes as I was going through. As is typical when we're talking about things like this, even though we've all talked about it before, we're going to go ahead and do it because this is Remember the Sabbath.
Yeah.
I obviously got into Sabbath because of my dad, which, sorry, what a mind fuck that is, because this is a guy that listened to Floyd, Zeppelin, in country, like Mo Bandy and Hank Jr., there was always some Bocephus playing, like always some Bocephus playing.
Right. Nothing wrong with
But
that.
he had two Sabbath albums, and it was Paranoid and Born Again. Incidentally, those are my two favorite Sabbath records. And it's just because those are the two that I listened to the most until I started buying my own, CDs and albums and such.
Now, what was the other one
Born
outside
Again,
Born
outside of
Again,
Morgan?
Paranoid.
Paranoid.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't have the debut. When I discovered that, it was almost scary when I discovered the first Sabbath album, which is funny because every song after the title track is fine. It's just it's a little gloomy sounding, but it's just hard
Yeah.
rock.
Right.
But that Devil's Triad, I'm not going to lie, scared me. But I'd grown up in the church, and that kind of stuff would freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason that to this day, even before my experience a few weeks ago, devil movies are the only scary movies that scare me.
Yeah, the only movie that's
Always
ever
have.
scared me is Exorcist, bro.
That's the most terrifying film ever. To this day, I can only watch it in the daytime.
Right.
Now I have to watch 2 or 3 or 4 comedies after that darn movie so that I don't have Kafka dreams when I go to bed.
That's awesome.
Stupid movie scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I can't watch it a lot. Where she's jamming that cross into her.
Yeah, dude. But the visuals, the visuals of The Exorcist is just even today.
The sound effects too.
But that fucking voice. I forget who did the voice.
Mercedes McCambridge.
Gee, shit. That thing still when I hear that.
So that wasn't what's
hair
her
goes up.
What was it? Linda Blair? That wasn't her doing that voice?
No, it was some older actress gal.
I couldn't hear Metal Mike. Mike, I wonder if you move your mic closer to you if you wouldn't get stepped on, so to speak. But then we can't see
Scapegoat. Then I block, because you got this YouTube thing going. I block him. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Well, yeah, I need you both to talk at the same time to know what's going on, though.
All right. Do-wop, 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 wop.
What? Okay.
He said at the same time.
Okay. All right. Ready? Okay. So do-wop. You want
do-wop? Do some do-wop.
Do-wop, 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 do-wop.
Do-ba, 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 do.
You guys aren't understanding the same time thing at all.
Do-ba, do-da, 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 do-da.
Okay, we got you both now.
All right.
All right, look at that. We worked out our technical difficulties live and on the air. That's because we're professionals, people.
That and I missed my meds.
I've had people tell me that. Well, you're a professional. I'm going, what? No, I appreciate that as a compliment. So please, I want everybody that, I don't really consider myself a professional anything, really. But
professional,
we have something to back it up now because we just did it.
Podcaster, radio person.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Anywho.
So you guys, the Scapegoat go first because we know that Metal Mike's just going to ride your coattails on the Black Sabbath thing.
Well, I don't know about all that. Do you want to? I guess we'll just start.
You got turned on to Sabbath.
Oh, Sabbath. Wow. I think I know that we brought up Kiss the last time. The Kiss was the one that kind of was my gateway band to heavy, the heavy end of things. Even though I had heard like Iron Butterfly, like Prototype things, Hendrix, songs that were kind of heavy in the heavy realm. But during my whole Kiss fixation, pretty much as a kid, my dad and the older neighbor guy across the street, kind of like an older brother. He's like, there's like, I guess like 5-6 years difference between us. While he liked Kiss himself, he had a problem taking them as serious on the musicality side because of the theatrics and that. So he was constantly like, hey, this is the real, I'm going to introduce you to Black Sabbath. So the first time I heard Black Sabbath was by his insistence. He made me go over to his house and listen to War Pigs. So War Pigs was the first cut that I ever remember hearing off Paranoid.
Nice.
Now, I may have heard by chance because Paranoid was a rate did get some amount of, especially in our area because of Keishi and Midwest rock, a lot more rock stations, Uh, so I may have heard by chance Paranoid, but the first Sabbath song I remember is War Pigs, and while I really liked it, I was kind of like, well, I'm sticking with my guys at Kiss for. So when the wheels came off of Kiss, I started shift. That's when I started having to seek. I had to fill that void. So
Right.
Sabbath was there, and I started to look like Cooper came into play. Like I was trying to find anything to replace that heavy, the need for heavy music, which wasn't easy in that time frame. As far because Kiss did such a masterful job in the studio and the production of those albums, it's hard to like you take Destroyer or Rock and Roll over and any, I mean, the production on them is amazing.
Yeah.
So even though there was like even Sabbath, like it was heavy, but it didn't have near the production that let's say Destroyer or anything had. So I mean that's my first memories of them, and then I just from there kind of got more and more into them. Um, I love them. I mean, they're like right up there with the Beatles, and the Beatles were another band that kind of, I mean, Sabbath changed my life. Like,
Nice.
and so did the Beatles. And I kind of put those are my two pinnacle go-to bands. Like if Dave's having a shitty day or week, year, I gravitate to those two bands as not to sound like a girl, but kind of for comfort, like emotional comfort. But yeah.
It
Well, that's
it
like
it, it doesn't it doesn't
Yeah.
sound feminine at all.
Yeah, I hope not. My man badge is dripping. Anyway, sorry.
angina.
My mangina.
Oh Lord, Metal Mike. So obviously your brother brought it home.
Well, what happened is Kevin Barnes,
Mm.
because we were just obsessed, not just fixated on Kiss, obsessed with Kiss. So he was that way with all of us. Like I remember he
Now,
brought over
remember, I'm 9 years old. Okay.
right, and
I'm a
I'm
kid.
like 5 or 6 when I
Right.
first discovered Kiss,
Yeah.
and he brought over us one of them like miniature 8-track players, kind of like the
I still remember. You remember it?
precursor to
It looked like a blue jeans with a pocket,
yeah,
and the
and
8-track went in like
and
at
you
the top of
pop
the
the
pocket.
8-track in.
Yeah. Corny as hell, but
Because
that's what he
Kevin
had.
used to have Sabbath on vinyl. He had him on 8-track too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all like, so you guys think Kiss is the heaviest thing ever, huh? Well, check this out. And he popped in the Paranoid 8-track, and I hear War Pigs for the first time. And I remember being scared of it, especially the sirens and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? And then and Kevin didn't just introduce us to Sabbath, but he introduced us to Zeppelin and Ted Nugent,
Queen, Ted
Alice
Nugent,
Cooper. Well, my cousin Mitchell though
Blue
was
Oyster
really
Cult,
into Alice Cooper, and he was really
Cheap
into
Trick,
Judas
every
Priest.
bunch of stuff.
So both of them, my older cousin Mitchell and Kevin was like our surrogate big brother. I mean, he really was. He's 10 years older than me, and I'm about 9, 10 years older than me, about 5 or 6 years older than you, and he very
Well, what do you
much kind
think?
of
Do the math.
took us
I'm
under his wing, and
58, so he's got to be what,
so,
64, 5,
but
something.
because I'll hear people say, like Ralph even go, well, it surprises me that a guy Mike's age is in to some of the, like his timeline. And I'm like, that's because I had Kevin and this guy. If not for them, who knows when I would have got. I think I would have, but I don't know
Well,
exactly.
the old man. I mean, it wasn't like Dad didn't have
You'd have
things.
been rocking with Poison like Bushy.
God, that makes me puke in my
Oh,
mouth.
oh, what might have been.
Oh, but thank God wasn't. Okay. So thank God I was introduced to real rock and metal at a very
I'll
early age.
okay. I got a question for you, and I got a question for you. Faster Pussycat or Poison?
Oh God.
That's your two choice. Oh, or what was their name? L.A. Guns.
I'll take LA Guns over both those bands.
See, I hate LA Guns. I
Yeah, it
can't
wasn't too big. Like
stand
the
that
first
band.
album was kind of
Faster Pussycat, I'm really There's some tracks I really, really dig by that band,
Yeah, I figured you probably would. Yeah,
but
But let me put it this way.
I like Poison a
I
lot.
kind of figured he was in
That sounds like a
Poison.
Ralph Vieira Dr. Fuck Suck versus Suck episode to me.
Damn, poor Bushy.
No, it's
It,
okay.
it is what it
Poor
is.
Bush.
This is
Bushy
not
like-
a glam metal podcast, and
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
the thing.
And here's the thing, though.
I know
What
second
thing I love
generation.
about Bushy
You're
is the
just
fact that
mean to Bush.
I am not mean to him because Bushy can hold his own. Thank you very much. Number one. Number two, um, we do agree a lot. In fact, I just got feedback that it pisses some of the listeners off when we do agree
Yeah,
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
because they want us
that gets
to.
boring if everybody you just
Well,
echo
because
chamber
we
type
did the
shit.
big
But
cast
I mean,
retrospective. There were a lot of times me and Bushy were like, not always, but a lot of time we were both like, yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, bro. So
Mhm.
I get the feeling that's probably going to be what's going to happen with this. I would be really shocked if Bushy has a retarded hot take, but then maybe I shouldn't be shocked because it is Bushy after all. And he will, like anybody who says OU 812 is a better album than Women and Children First, I have to question their sanity. I
Wow.
also have to question their
Damn, Bush.
I mean,
I love you, brother, but
what's the other one? Skyscraper. David
Yeah.
Crossing is better than Eat 'em and Smile. That was his take. That
Are you
he told me
serious?
at the
I
last Rockin' Con.
Okay. I mean, you're
much prefer Skyscraper.
no shit. I didn't even buy that. I don't even hardly
So,
remember it.
But at the
But I
same
do
time,
remember the
like I said,
first Roth.
we'll keep going.
I remember the first Roth album.
Oh, I loved it.
But I don't remember much of Skyscraper.
Yeah, I tried to forget it.
Who played with him on Skyscraper tour?
Same guys.
Same band.
Yeah, was it
Greg
Vi?
Bissonette, Steve Vai, and
Bissonette.
Billy Sheehan.
I'm trying to remember. Also, does anybody know what tour it was? Poison opened for Roth on his
I
solo.
think it was the Skyscraper tour, wasn't
Was
it?
it
She?
the first tour?
Timeline would have to say it was Skyscraper.
Because I seen that. I seen Poison and
I've never seen Poison. Brett plays at a casino not far from here because you know how all these aging rockers they always do casino shows. Hell, I saw Vixen at a
like
casino in New York.
Vegas thing. Yeah.
But I still haven't seen Brett. I wanted to go to the stadium show, but I was like, shut
Yeah.
up. So I didn't. And then I'm watching video clips and I'm like, the only band that brought it was Poison. They were the only band that seemed like they had any energy, that seemed like they were having a good time, where the crowd was really into it.
Yeah.
Leopard, they're consummate professionals. I don't care what people say about Nine Armed Def Leppard. They always sound good. They always do a great job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vince, and I've seen Def Leppard 4 or 5 times. Nine Arm. I've never seen when Rick Allen, before Rick Allen's accident.
I don't think any of us got to do that.
Yeah, I didn't. I missed that. Yeah.
No, but every
Wish
time
I
I've seen
could
them,
have seen that.
they've been amazing. They've been
I've
absolutely
always heard
amazing.
that they're a good live band. I would
Yeah.
just probably have to take a lot of pee breaks or beer breaks because they would just play things that I don't like.
See, the last time I saw them was in 08, and they didn't play a lot of bad stuff. I don't remember them doing like When Love and Hate Collide, things like that.
Okay.
What was the look?
Bad stuff.
That's the bad stuff. When Love and Hate Collide. I mean, they did Let's Get Rocked. They did Pour Some Sugar on Me,
That one I can't do poor. It's stripper song, man.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think that's why it became a hit.
Yeah, it's a stripper song, ain't it?
It's
great.
a total stripper song.
Like, how many strip clubs do you think that got played
Oh
at?
my God. That's what I'm serious, dude.
It was played at the one I went to all the
Believe
time.
it or not,
Right on.
when that album came out, it was tanking.
Oh, really?
It wasn't doing worth a damn.
And the
because
strip club saved it?
look it up, dude. They did a whole documentary about it. Yes, the strip club saved it, and MTV started playing that video. I'm not kidding, dude. Look it up, dude. Look it up.
That's
that
crazy.
album was
That's
bombing
actually
it,
based
dude,
somewhat
because
in
it
fact.
sucked, okay, and all the Def Leppard fans, the real Def Leppard fans, were like myself when I first heard it.
The real Def
Right.
Leppard fans.
That's right. That's right. We were like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And
Well-
then the girls said, "Like, oh my God, I like this." And then the rest is history. And good for them, man. I mean, look, they made that album. I didn't like it. but it was a huge, huge hit for him. I think it sold even better than Pyromania. Am I not right about that?
Yeah, that was multi-platinum. It was a
And
monster.
Pyromania was a multi-platinum selling album. Pyromania was huge, but Pyromania is good.
I had Pyro.
I know
They're
you
they're they're both good. I don't
High and
care.
Dry is their best.
Yeah, I agree.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of hidden gems on Hysteria that people won't listen to because they're like, oh, it sounds so like this. Well, the drummer got limited and it was just learning how to play again. So they had no choice. They could retire, they
You
could
know,
different
And
drummer, or
I
they
get
could
that.
adapt.
I
And
I
they
have a
did.
request. Like this was really fun, the Sabbath, and I know it. But I want to pick something that's just completely outside my wheelhouse, like for a review, like something that I don't
you want to do an
that
undercover Jim?
an old one, like something like that. Like let's do Hysteria or something.
Yes.
I'm being dead serious
All right, fine.
because I have fun. The
Future
most fun,
uncovered gems, ladies and gentlemen. Def Leppard Hysteria.
right? I think you
Looking
should
forward to it.
do it.
Full blown gay and do Adrenaline.
I like going back to shit that I didn't like when I was young and seeing if there's something now at crusty age that I can be like, or that I'm older, wiser. Shut up. Geriatric Dave here is trying to make a statement. Anyway,
Debilitating Dave is more like it.
I am down for that. This
Disabled Dave.
thank you for this. This is different.
Disabled Dave. Okay.
Dave,
we have never gone down the we have never gone down the Def Leppard vortex. That was fun.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
But yeah,
anyway, let's talk about a good band.
Let's bring it back. Black
We
Sabbath.
need to get back focused on Sabbath.
Yeah.
Greatest metal band ever.
1968.
The gods themselves.
Yeah, went through a couple name changes before settling on Black Sabbath based on an old black and white film. For Christ's sakes, a lot of people think that well, they're demonic, they're evil. My stepmother, and this is another reason I was so angry with religion when I was younger, stood up in church because remember, I was the resident headbanger in that church, talking about how evil Ozzy Osbourne was. And well, he was a Seventh-day Adventist before he became a Satanist. And I was like, I'm going through every circus magazine and Metal Edge I have looking for that information because we didn't have back then. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, there was that satanic panic shit, back
Yes.
yeah, which was really, it was real.
Yes, sir, man.
I mean,
I lived it. That's why I discovered Stryper. I know a lot of people crap on that band, but I discovered them out of necessity. It was the
my
only
mom bought me a
listen to
couple
my
of
metal.
Stryper albums for Christmas.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to purge the devil out of my head.
well, again, I've
evil
told this
spirit,
story
get
before.
But
I've heard I'm the evil spirit.
you should get out. But
Evil metal spirits, I cast thee out.
there you go.
I
Anyway,
was gonna say, dude, real quick, to interject.
Yeah.
This is something I told this Scapegoat story many times on this podcast and on the radio show because it's hilarious. You predicted the future. Mom and Dad even all that stuff, murder and mayhem and Satan and blah blah blah. And David would be like, Mom, Dad, they could sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I don't give a shit as long as it rocks. I don't care. And of course, about a decade later or so, Korn comes out with Shoots and Ladders.
It's so bad, bro.
well, Clutch kind of took a turn at that too.
Yes,
man.
they did. Nick, Patty, what good?
Well, Neil, I mean, he pulls out from everywhere. He's a big reader. Like he loves reading.
When I first heard Shoots and Ladders, I laughed my ass off. Not that I didn't think it was a cool song, but because I'm going, oh my God, Dave's right. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what the subject matter is. And
sometime on a different podcast, I'll talk about that. I had a friend in high school that very religious. I would tell her because she tried to tell me the music itself was evil, and I was like, nah, I don't agree with that. I don't think music, instrumental is inherently evil.
No,
but
that's all how you
it's about what you're trying to convey message wise,
Yeah.
and that's why Stryper, I think, appeals to people of a Christian belief, if they have, because it's got a positive
It's got a good positive message. But you got to remember in
unifying
the 80s,
message.
they were catching all kinds of hell because they were playing that evil heavy metal, even though it was glammy.
Yeah, because
It
some
was the
people
metal of the
associate
time.
that. Yeah.
They were pelting the crowd with Bibles, is what they would say. Pelting the crowd with Bibles.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
like they're overhand pitching fastballs at these people, you know.
Which would have ruled. I would have gone to see that.
That would have been great. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They were tossing Bibles out into the crowd.
Hey, if you're gonna get knocked
Hey,
out, I'd rather be
bro.
hit with the King James version than like, a sight
I
of
just see
beef.
it now. Praise Jesus. Thunk
Yeah.
out their head, man.
Yeah.
They caught a lot of flack too.
Oh, they did.
Oh
I mean, I
yeah.
remember Jimmy Swaggart condemning them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That hurt them. When Ralph and I interviewed Stryper, Michael Sweet said that really hurt them because he's like, it was through Jimmy Swaggart that we came to know the glory and the love of Christ, and here he is condemning us. It
That's
was
sad.
horrifying.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember him saying that in an interview years ago, and that was in their heyday. Which one thing that's interesting about Stryper, when you look at the musical, like they're almost, dare I say, power metal-y now. They're not
The last
glam.
thing I heard from him,
Pretty
I was
heavy.
actually kind of
Heavy.
wow, they have progressed.
And you know
Like
what?
they're
You
not
never-
at all like
you
the
didn't
initially,
know, bro. Boston.
Yeah, Boston
Michael Sweet did a tribute for Brad Delp.
did
where
Delp,
he did
yeah,
he
sung
played with
Delp.
the band and did
Oh wow.
killed it.
Well, I bet
I
Michael
mean,
can
killed it.
sing.
The dude's got some pipes, man.
I
Absolutely. And a
respect him. I
very,
mean,
very
musicians,
sweet man.
especially.
Very
And they
sweet.
seem like good people.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, but I mean, they seem like good people.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about
Anyway,
some let's go to the other side of the spectrum. Let's talk about the almighty Black Sabbath
yeah.
1970 debut.
Do you want to like before we critique the songs or what? Do you guys want to hit like on some historical notes about the first album or?
Hit me because I don't have any historical notes. In 1970, I was -5.
Okay, I'll read the historical notes.
I was just probably being conceived as a sound king.
Just before we all get rolling, it's their debut album, of course, Vertigo Records. It was recorded in 1970. Released on Warner Brothers here in the States. It's considered the first true metal album. It also has been hailed as the greatest heavy metal song, Black Sabbath, from the album of all time. It actually got negative reviews, believe it or not.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
From critics, right? It did reach the number 8 in the charts in the UK. 23 on the US Billboard top charts. It has gained reprisal and considered one of the most influential heavy metal albums. The musical reference book, or Robert Dimery's 2005 musical reference book, refers that as 1001 albums you must hear before you die.
Agreed.
The album was produced by Roger Bain. He's a British record producer, I mean. And he's known for working with artists such as Budgie, Priest, and many, many others. So that's what I noted for it, just kind of a brief, history of like the album.
Sure.
So then I guess whoever wants to go first
Why
on.
don't you go, since you're already on the mic, bro? Just go track by track and tell us what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit what I noted. I got obviously the title track, Black Sabbath, was inspired by Geezer Butler seeing a dark figure after reading an occult book. That's some of the history on the song, which it has the devil's what's it called, tritone or whatever.
Devil's triad.
Yeah, triad.
Yeah.
And it's considered to be one of the foundational pieces of heavy metal. And my thoughts are on it that the cinematic storm and its ambient effect sets the stage for what you're about to experience throughout the rest of the song. And it's probably one of the most epic song openings ever, I think. And it's a hair raiser. and it's no accident that the song created an entire genre. And it's amazing that it changed the musical landscape forever. And 55 years later, it still shines as pure perfection sonically and lyrically. And
Yeah, I couldn't agree
I
more.
don't think you can debate that, about that song as, title song of the album. So
You can't,
great.
just like you can't debate that they are the first Sabbath or
Hmm.
first metal band. Sabbath is the first metal band. It's not opinion, bitches. It's science. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I think
created
it's
a whole
fact.
genre.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
up already. The blue cheer and all this other shit.
well, see, I
Yes, it's
call
proto metal.
right.
Metal metal.
Not right,
Okay.
exactly. They didn't write like Sabbath did in that format
And more importantly,
cohesively from beginning to end of an
their
album,
lyrical content.
you know.
Nobody was singing about not just but
And
death,
dark, yeah, the dark lyrics.
disease, and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then the Wizard, I love the Wizard. The lyrics were written by Osborne and Butler, inspired by an experience where they both saw someone acting strangely outside of a pub. This is now you got to take this, this come from the internet, so take what you want. But uh, they said the person appeared to be like an elf, and it kind of inspired the song. They think maybe um, it could have also been inspired by our their drug dealer, and also
Ronnie
Lord of the
James
Rings.
Dio looking for a gig.
Yeah, there you go. And then Gandalf, Lord of the Rings, was kind of an influence possibly on it. Uh, I love the harmonica intro. My thoughts here. I like I like that combined with Ward's blues-like rhythms, which allows Butler to fall in behind him with a suave but yet powerful, somewhat punchy bass line. It makes it extremely easy to envision yourself in the company of the wizard. Um, Again, sonically and lyrically, it just pulls you in. It's songs such as this one. It makes it truly amazing knowing that the album was only recorded in 12 hours, the entire album, and mixed. I think they had some overdubs like the next day. So that song to me really, is a shining moment, I think,
Yeah.
that's who their genius
That
and
was
their
Ozzy
being tight.
on the harp, right?
Yeah, Ozzy did the harp.
For those who don't
So,
listen to the blues, that's a harmonica.
oh yeah, to me, yeah. Um, what are we? Wasp behind the wall asleep. It's supposedly, I guess, it was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's short story Behind the Wall Asleep, which I didn't know. Um,
So see, Metallica wasn't the only one seeing.
yeah, it's a story apparently about a otherworldly entity trying to communicate through a dying inmate at a mental hospital. So there you go. I'm not going to rattle on too much more. That kind of sums it up. I find it I find this song as 58-year-old Dave a lot more enjoyable. When I was younger, I was kind of like, eh.
Mm.
I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't like, ooh. Um, I also love the opening. It seems to be almost carefree or dare I say happy. It's kind of got, and then it's almost to me like when I was listening to it, I could like if it was a cinematic thing going to the mental hospital, it was like you would see the outside of the asylum, birds, and then all of a sudden it goes from this tranquil kind of like groove or feel to dark.
Right.
Yeah, so it was I really liked that. I thought that was kind of a neat touch. I mean, the song definitely pulls you in, especially the lyrics and I think overall like Iommi shines really good, like the solos are great. And that's about it on that one, guys.
All right, cool.
And I got NIB. Now, obviously, I don't know about you guys, but um, there's been several, I guess, myths or, versions of what inspired NIB. But the one I remember hearing is Pin Nib, Bill's goatee or whatever. They they wrote this, Pin Nib. So, which I think is pretty funny. Uh, so I don't know. Apparently the song is from a perspective of Lucifer falling in love with a human woman, becoming a better person.
That must be some
I know. And then of
maybe
course there's
culty.
right. And then there's the whole Nativity in Black, which I've heard that too. So I don't know, but the band consistently maintains that it was a reference towards beer. And
Nice.
then of course it grabs you right off. Geezer's bass intro.
Also known
Uh
as basically.
yeah, and it kind of kicks you one right in there in your balls, and the darkness is really prominent throughout the lyrics, the vibe, uh, but yet it does have, typical Sabbath. It's got that melodic, in and out kind of thing going on. Yeah, I think it's a masterpiece. NIB is definitely one of their masterpieces to me. Wicked World, 1970s B-side on the band's debut single Evil Woman is the history on that, apparently. Didn't know that. Um, it replaced Evil Woman on the American edition of the band's self-titled debut album. Um, it's about many issues on Earth, which is a constant theme with Sabbath, post-apocalyptic or anti-war. Um, these are just, major, major themes throughout Sabbath's discography. But my thoughts was again the jazz like rhythm in the opening, it grabs you, especially cool. Love the jazz overtones, but I also really appreciate the mixed in gritty down blues progressions. Lyrically, it's just again, I love the lyrics. I love what the subject matter is. And I enjoyed the instrumental by Omi through the halfway, about halfway through the song. It's perfect. It's great. It's Sabbath. It's like it gets really cliche after a while when you even writing stuff. I was like, good Lord.
You find yourself repeating yourself?
Yeah, it's just like okay, but it's the truth, man. They were amazing. Um, now I don't remember. Was it always like this? My bit of a bit of finger sleeping village and warning like
Well, you got to remember there
fresh
were
my memory.
editions, there was American editions, and
Right.
North American edition actually has track 3 Wasp slash Behind the Wall of Sleep slash basically slash NIB, but in Europe they just have it separate, like it's Black Sabbath, The Wizard, Behind the Wall of Sleep, and NIB
Right.
as separate tracks,
See on
and then Evil Woman is track 5, and then Sleeping Village,
right.
and then The Warning. But if you get the 1996 CD reissue, you get the bonus track of Wicked World, which is the final track. And that was the version I listened to. I listened to the European version
Did you?
last night.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually what I did.
So,
but because I mean, it's not so much with Sabbath, but you know as well as I do, Bushy, being a Stones fan, and the same with the Beatles. The American versions and the European or English or UK versions are definitely different. Same with
Yes.
AC/DC. The early albums,
yeah.
there's like 2 releases ahead of
Well, yeah, I know there's quite a
Yeah.
you got like the German, there's like ain't there an
Yeah.
Australian version?
Yeah, there's Australian
ACD, yeah, a
versions.
lot of bands end
Yeah.
up with that, like alt versions, depending on, where they released. But overall, man, like I said, it's a 3-part composition on the version I heard anyway. The whole thing there. See, the Warning is a cover by Ansley Dunbar.
Retaliation is the name of the band.
Yeah, and he also an Englishman. He had once, I mean, he was in a lot of prior bands before these notes here, but he auditioned for the Hendrix band. Uh, Lost to a coin toss to Mitch Mitchell, and he had played with Mayhall.
John Mayall's blues player.
Yeah, blues player. I mean, he notable guy. That's why I kind of went ahead and mentioned
Pretty
it.
much jammed with everybody.
I mean,
anybody.
people can look him up and really see. I mean,
Yeah.
quite a
Hall of Fame career.
yeah.
And he really is in the Hall of Fame and deserved it.
Again, this song's pretty much about post-apocalyptic and uh but the information I got here, it says something like it's a story of a man who travels the future, which I don't know. Uh you'd have to I didn't really go through the lyrics 100% with this. But they're saying that basically that he transforms into a mute or something, metallic creature due to a magnetic field, unable to speak, and he tries to warn people. Yeah, but they're saying the warning is about that.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me guess, Wikipedia, right?
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Shit.
Anyway, I love the acoustic guitar intro, guitar riffs, of course, typical Sabbath. You gotta love it. Let's see. I did find the way Ozzy sang on it a little I don't know, a little strange, abstracty. But I think as a kid, again, this song when I was young, I wasn't as big into. Where now when I listen to it this time, I appreciated it a lot more,
Right.
But that's about all I really, I mean, with Sabbath, it just gets so redundant with me because I'm just like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just fucking amazing, like, I love it.
Well, I'm glad you have actually gone a little more in depth because that's not the way I do the retrospective. I tend to concentrate on the stuff that's really good on the album.
Hmm.
This one, it's pretty much most of it anyway. For Black Sabbath, I said, the track that started it all, it's amazing. Is actually the word
Yeah.
I wrote in there. For the Wizard,
Mhm.
great tune, Ozzy on harmonica, doomy, gloomy, awesome.
Right.
Behind the Wall of Sleep, 50-year-old Nate, not a big fan, is a decent jam.
Mhm.
NIB is one of my all-time favorite Sabbath tunes ever. It
Right.
absolutely rules.
Yeah, it's
Every
classic.
cover version of that song is just a great tune. Evil Woman, it's a cool cover. I didn't realize it was a cover. I don't know who Crow is, but you know,
Yeah, I don't.
Sleeping Village again, just a cool tune. It didn't grab me in any way. Warning,
Yeah.
I've always loved the song. I don't know what it is about it, but I've always really enjoyed it. I remember hearing Wicked World on my version. I don't know if it's the album I have or the CD I had.
Hmm.
I've always enjoyed that as well. And I always thought it would have been good. So it must be my vinyl. My vinyl must be the European because I always thought it would have been great on the album. Now I find out it was on the American version. So who's who's eating crow now?
I got confused. Like I was like, I don't remember. Like, is this right? Like, because the version I heard, I was like, as a kid, I'm like, this seems like this album. Yeah, something's not quite right here.
Right, right.
Yeah, threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure if my vinyl or if it was my stepdad's vinyl. Because my stepdad, he's the one that like really got me into the metal hard. I listened to the radio metal, but he got me into everything else that wasn't on the radio. Your Megadeths and things of that nature.
Yeah,
Your Sepultura and that kind of stuff, and Wasp because I wasn't hearing Wasp on the radio.
yeah.
So
No,
it might have been on his
not unless there was
his
like a metal
version of
show or
Black Sabbath.
something.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, I love the debut. What do you think, Mike?
I'm going to pretty much echo what you guys said. I mean, obviously released Friday the 13th of February 1970. Black Sabbath, the track that started it all, like you said, Bush.
Mhm.
Not just what heavy metal is, but also what it will become. Fucking game changing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Two, The Wizard, another instant Sabbathrific classic. Love Ozzy's harp playing on this track. And honestly, I wish Ozzy would have done a little bit more harp playing on certain
I know.
tracks. Man,
I
he
don't
did it
know
on this one
why.
and then 13. And that's my favorite track on that album. Yeah, amazing. Behind the Wall of Sleep. Again, the awesomeness doesn't stop. Great deep track. NIB, masterpiece. Love Geezer Butler's bass solo, which in the early releases in America was called Basically. Phenomenal song, totally epic.
Mhm.
Love Ozzy's vocals. The band is on fire. And I also think that Les Claypool. Well, Primus did an amazing job with Ozzy singing it.
Yeah, that was a cool cover. Yeah.
Number 5, Evil Woman. Bad, cover tune. Basically, though, from what I understand, and I know this because of my Black Sabbath box set, they weren't real thrilled about recording this. They were just like, we're not a fucking, because I guess the original version is very poppy.
Oh,
and Ozzy and them were
I
like,
didn't know.
what the fuck is this, man? What, really?
I can imagine.
He's like, do you want me to be fucking David Cassidy? Because I'm not. So, yeah. So, anyway, you got that. Number 6, Sleeping Village, just a really cool, mellow intro. To me, it's an intro, though. I can see why on America they had it because it's not very long.
Yeah, I like it, though. I mean,
very cool.
Yeah,
another cool deep
that's
track.
cool.
It goes right into the warning, of course, cover of Ainsley Dunbar, Retaliation. Again, especially if you love the blues, a really, really cool track. I got it. Young Mike thought, oh man, this song's so long and it's kind of boring. But
I appreciate it more now.
Holy shit, man, it's a good track. And I think, to be honest with you, no disrespect to Ainsley, but I think Sabbath's version is better. And then Wicked World, man, fucking rules. And I know, can't understand. Maybe I guess at the time with vinyl, they didn't have the room. But this should have been on the album. This should have been on the album, and Evil Woman should have been, which I think Evil Woman originally was in England. It was a single with Wicked World is the B-side.
Right.
There you go, man. I mean, it's Black Sabbath.
Now, if you had to pick one off that album that you don't find as stellar as, the
weakest track?
Yeah, what do you think's the weakest track?
Evil Woman.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's not even a contest. That doesn't mean I think it's a bad song.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, that would be the one to go.
For me, it'd be between that one and Behind the Wall of Sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Behind the Wall of Sleep, though. Always have, man. I mean,
but like I said, even with it, like I enjoy it more now at this age than I did when I initially, to be honest, not that I was in habit of skipping, but as a kid, your attention span is like, so I remember when I listened to this, I would skip those would be some of the songs because I mostly wanted to, play like The Wizard, NIV, like those were the ones that, like just repetitive, like wear the grooves out of my record on, but yeah, this album's really amazing, especially when you think about how it was, they recorded it in one day. Like, it's just, I think that would be a hell of an accomplishment for a band today, let alone then.
Takes bands longer than that to do a song.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, I mean, nowadays when you keep in mind, and this isn't just with Sabbath, but back then, man, they put out this album and the next album in the same year.
All right,
think about it.
Yeah, I know,
like
man.
That's insane.
But that's the way it
was done.
It used to be done that way. Kiss was doing that.
Kiss was doing that. Zeppelin was doing that. They were all doing that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, now it takes sometimes 5 to 6 years for an album or a band to record albums, but back
I think they made
sometimes 15 to get a masterpiece.
No, correct me if I'm
said sometimes 15 years to get a masterpiece.
Sure. Yeah.
Disaster piece is more like it, but that's a whole subject.
Mike, we know that secretly.
Yeah.
He's got an Axl Rose shrine.
Dude, I got Chinese democracy shrine up in that bitch. What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, I'm a secret.
Do you have to wash it off?
Sweet. Let's talk about Paranoid.
Yeah, Paranoid. Anyway,
yeah. You want me to go again?
Yeah, you
did some put me on the
analysis, sir.
But you're our guest, bro.
You're putting me on the spot. Okay, Paranoid. Rough history again. 1970, like Mike mentioned, Vertigo Records. January of 71. Of course, it's got the band's signature songs, Iron Man, War Pigs. It was the band's top 20, which was the band's top 20 hit, reaching.
Not to interrupt, I just got one quick question. You said January 71. Is that the American release?
No, I think that's the British UK version, but
September 18th, 1970.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said January 71.
Sure.
You
Did I say 71?
I didn't hear you.
I think I said September 18th of
in the
1970.
United States,
Yeah.
1971. Okay.
And
So yeah,
71 in
it came out later in America.
okay. Maybe I fumbled. I don't
No,
know.
you didn't.
Okay. Anyway. War Pigs, the title track. Paranoid hit top 20. It reached number 4. I guess that's in the States. It reached top 4 in the UK. And it's widely regarded as one of the greatest, most influential heavy metals of all time. Often cited as key influence in the development of the genre, you know. Um, and that's about it, I guess, you know. Don't need to go much deeper. War Pigs, again, like I said, that was the first song I heard. And even though it was mind blowing, like I said, I was so down the rabbit hole with Kiss that my ears were kind of not receptive to a lot of outside music. So it's hard to imagine anybody hearing War Pigs and not instantly being like, well, I need to, go buy everything set, that I can get my hands on. But I didn't. I was just so, engulfed in that. Kiss.
Well, and also, let's be honest,
But
we did as kids,
yeah,
limited budget.
granted, and I had a limited budget. But anyway, so that was the first song I heard. The history is pretty evident. It's an anti-war protest song, essentially. It's the first song I heard. I mentioned that. Not Gonna Drone. It's a masterpiece, and it's probably my favorite Sabbath song of all time. If I was pressed with a gun to my head and I had to pick one that I wasn't willing to let go of, it would be War Pigs. It's just a masterpiece, man. Paranoid. It was actually, something they wanted as a filler. It's amazing that they wrote it in a really short space of time. I find that kind of really cool about Paranoid and how its success. And I love it for all the same reasons that every Sabbath fan does. It's just great. It grabs you by the boo-boo. It gets stuck in your head easily. And, you know, Iron Man, we all know what Iron Man's about. Uh, I really enjoyed it as a
Robert
kid.
Downey Jr.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as a kid. Yeah, I love Robert Downey Jr., by the way.
Same.
Um, but I'm gonna kind of say this about Iron Man. Like, I have heard it so much. I don't go to it very often when I go to Sabbath. It's kind of, even though I will say, the last time I listened to it, which was, and even once before that, a few months ago, I was like, if I could kind of just, if you can kind of get through the first part of the song and get to the part where it picks up, yeah, and it takes off, I still love that. I mean, it still resonates with me.
Yeah, that's one
Um,
that kind of suffers from oversaturation
It
for some
does.
oh,
people.
It
definitely.
does.
And
Everybody feels that way.
Paranoid borders,
Yes.
but Paranoid still, even though it's just been like, I can't, yeah, I mean, I still listen. I won't turn it off. Where Iron Man, I'll go ahead and turn the dial, maybe. Like, I've heard this so fucking much.
Yeah.
Anyway, where are we at here? Iron Man, Electric Funeral. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Nuclear fallout, war. Um, I love it. Um, it's dark, grim, everything it ought to be, everything I wanted from them. And it has a special place in my heart due to my brother waking my ass up every morning bright and early to it. The every morning.
That's probably his all-time favorite Sabbath
Yeah,
song.
and so, for
Marky.
that reason, it has a really special place in my heart. Hand to Doom, dark message, talks about heroin addiction, the Vietnam War, kind of touches on, I think it was inspired by what the soldiers self-medicating themselves during the Vietnam War with heroin, and many other substances. My thoughts, I've always loved it. Bass line, slow, gritty. Um, love the subject matter involved in the war. Still one of my favorite Ozzy songs. Sabbath with him. I love the verse structure. I love the chorus and the use of melody, over the music. I think it's just a class act song all the way around. And then on to Rat Salad. The song arose. It says this song come from them needing to fill live performances. So Bill Ward did a drum solo, which I love. And speaking, we was talking about Bill earlier. What's not to love about it? It's fun, and I love it. Jack the Stripper. Fairies wear boots. Now I don't know if this is accurate, but I looked up and it said the inspiration for this came from possible skinheads and humiliation. Geezer Butler suggested the song was sparked by an incident where Ozzy was called a fairy by skinheads due to his long hair. He also stated it's about LSD and tripping your balls off, which I have some experience in.
Well, from what I understand, also Ozzy actually did, even though he swears up and down, I don't remember it, but
Yeah,
he wrote the lyrics to "Fairies Wear Boots."
now that yeah,
you know,
more impossible. Ozzy did write lyrics, despite what some may want to believe. Um, it's one of my major go back songs. Fairy wear boots. I mean, if I go to listen to Sabbath, it's one I go to
I think
regular.
that's Billo's favorite track on the
Oh,
album.
it's just fucking great.
Yes.
And I love the play with the lyrics. They're fun,
Oh yeah,
quirky. So yeah, I love it. And it's a classic, man, forever.
for sure. All right.
Absolutely. Here's what I said about this album. It's an absolutely killer album, and to me, it just solidified that Black Sabbath sound. Okay, this is how they're going to be. Okay, it was production was a little bit better than the debut. War Pigs, I just wrote, come on. It's not only a killer opener, it's a stone cold classic track. I even like my country hillbilly version that I've played on the radio and such. I know a regional band here, Scapegoat, that I talk a lot about called Dirty Grass Soul, and they do a full on countrified with fiddle version of War Pigs, and it kicks absolute ass.
I love stuff like that, man.
Yeah, it kicks absolute ass. If Metal Mike doesn't have
I'm
it,
into
I'll just send it
bluegrass,
to
by the
you.
way, for the
Nice.
record.
Paranoid Killer. I actually covered this in my band when I play guitar, a band called Bipolar. This one has not suffered from overplay for me. Planet Caravan's just absolute genius. Iron Man's another winner. But like you said, it is one that I could kind of skip. Electric Funeral, I've always liked that, and Ozzy didn't. This is where Ozzy sounds weird to me. Electric Funeral, he just sounds really strange to me, but I dig every second of it. Hand of Doom, awesome. Rat Salad is a real cool instrumental. And Jack the Tripper Fairies Wear Boots, I've always enjoyed that. I remember rumors back in the mid late 80s, kids were trying to say that well, Ozzy wrote that about Kiss. Like, dude, this came out before Kiss was a band. Shut up.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah. Kiss wasn't.
Well,
They may have been Wicked Lester.
quite a while before.
They might have been Wicked Lesser. They may have been just playing in bars at that time trying to put something together.
Right.
Yeah.
They might not even have met yet. I'm not sure.
Chaim
Did I
Vitz
miss
and
Planet Caravan?
Stanley
Did I not
Eiston
pick
may
that?
have been just noodling around.
Bro,
Did I just miss Caravan? Did I not
did you
mention
not
it?
mention it?
I don't think I did.
How do you not mention that song? That's just
I wrote
classic.
something down, but somehow I must have.
Well, let's read your thoughts, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't have much to add other than it's
Amazing.
stoner classic, dude. I
Space
mean,
rock. All right.
like if that don't make you want to light one up or do a binger, I don't know what will.
Okay. Paranoid, of course, released September 18th, 1970 in the UK. Recorded June 16th to 18th, 1970, shortly after your third birthday, dude.
Mhm.
At Regent Sound, London Island, in London. No sophomore slump here, folks. You know how some bands, they wait forever to do their debut album and it's fucking amazing. And then the sophomore album, well, maybe it's good. It's just not quite. No, no. Dare I say, I think this record is better than the first Sabbath, which again, I'm not belittling the first Sabbath. The first Sabbath album is amazing, but damn. I mean, and I think considered by many to be their greatest album. I mean, they actually did what's that classic albums episode on Paranoid. Um, I mean, it's really hard to argue, even though I got to be honest with you, it's not my favorite. I love this album. I absolutely adore this record. Don't get me wrong, but I guess maybe I'm more of a, because as I got deeper into the Black Sabbath hole, so to speak, the vortex, I like a lot of their deeper tracks. But don't get me wrong, like I love this record. It is a masterpiece. Starting off with the most fucking epic song ever that they may have ever written. I never get burned out on it. I've heard it about a billion times. It's one of my all-time favorite tracks of theirs. That literally, whenever I hear them, even when they play it live, or even when Ozzy plays it live, the hairs on just stand up on end. I absolutely adore War Pigs. Paranoid, title track. It's an instant classic, man. Recorded in no time as everybody else. Just a little played out for me, but it's not bad enough to where I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can still get
Unlike, and then of course Planet Caravan, I put even in the beginning, Sabbath were experimenting, but in a really, really cool way. They proved they could be just as mellow as they were heavy, and they totally pull it off here. Psychedelic rock and space rock at its finest.
Yeah.
Iron Man, it's a total classic, but unfortunately for me, it's pretty much played out. Like I love it, and and I know that, and I don't mean as to put it down, because I'm not. It's
No.
an amazing track. There's a reason it's played out, folks. When a
Yeah.
song is played out, there's a reason for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were
That's
talking
why.
about that last night on Black Spinner. If the song's overplayed, there's a reason for it.
Exactly. I agree.
Electric Funeral, fucking phenomenal. And much like Dave here, I can't help but think of my twin brother Mark, because he would just play this track over and
Ugh.
over and over, and he would like wake us up early in the morning.
Yeah. Sabbath, testimony to the Sabbath's greatness is that I still love it even after experiencing Mark.
Yeah,
with
because
it.
Mark
Yeah.
played that song out.
'Cause I wanted to choke him. Yeah.
And I love the live version in the reunion album that they recorded.
Oh yeah, and they did a good,
So
yeah,
heavy.
good one.
Hand of Doom, or yeah, just again the other epic track on the album is, in my opinion, where War Pigs is almost 8 minutes. This is 7 minutes and 8 seconds of just pure awesomeness. I love the bass intro, that boom boom boom. Just love it.
It's fun
The
to sing
lyrical
to
content that Geezer,
as well.
does is amazing. Ozzy's vocal melodies are great. It's just an amazing, amazing track. It's one of my all-time favorite Sabbath songs, and I love Slayer's cover of it on Nativity in Black too.
Yeah.
And then of course we have Rat Salad, just a really, really cool instrumental drum solo. Bill Ward rules. And then Fairies Wear Boots, man. Again, phenomenal closing track.
Yeah,
Flawless
great.
album. And I can understand why. And I would have to say, maybe objectively, it really is their greatest record, because
Right.
it's my dad's
Aesthetically
favorite record.
subjective.
Objective. I'm being objective here, not pathetically subjective. I'll be pathetically subjective
Yeah.
on the next album. Fuck you, Nick. Anyway,
No, we
so-
love Nick the Dick. Thanks for the tagline.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for giving us the tagline.
Nick the Dead.
See, we took your insult and we embraced that shit, bitch.
Well,
Anyway,
it wasn't much of an insult if it's what it was supposed to be.
to me, I'm
Like, really? I'm crushed, Nick.
that's like, oh, because we're the news. Oh,
Yeah.
even though the news aren't
Gee,
objective anymore either, but that's a whole other.
don't strain your brain.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Just phenomenal album. So I guess moving on, now we go to Master of Reality, released August 6th, 1971, recorded February 7th through 15th, and April of the same year, April 6th through 13th, 1971, recorded at Island Studio. They took their time on this record, and it shows. Take it away, Scapegoat.
Huh? Okay, let me see here. Sweet Leaf. Obviously, you know what the subject matter is. No explanation, really. Okay, I wrote noted. By this point, when reviewing or listening to Sabbath, it's become cliche saying this is one of my all-time favorite tracks, which is true with this. Um, Sweet Leaf was one of those songs that, again, like I had it on vinyl. I think I about wore the fucking vinyl out, like just over and over. I love the coughing intro, Iommi doing a bong. Um, the riffage, I mean, it's just what's not to love, right? It's a gem. And then after forever, it explores faith and its potential absence uh, until faced with mortality, supposedly. Geezer was a big reader, so he took a lot and really into religion and stuff. So a lot of his themes, there's a lot of themes throughout Sabbath's discography that have a lot of similarities, and After Forever is one of them. You got something to add?
Yeah, because Geezer didn't write the lyrics for that. Tony did. Tony wrote that song
Oh, okay.
completely
They're
by
noting
himself.
Geezer.
One
It
of the
says
few
it's written by
ones that
Geezer.
Tony, really, because it says right here, and it said on the album, all
Well,
things written by Black Sabbath, blah blah blah, except After Forever, Embryo, and
oh,
Orchid by
yeah,
Iommi.
it doesn't note that with my notes, but that's cool. So you're saying Iommi wrote it? All of it?
That's what they're saying, man.
Wow, that's cool because Iommi didn't do that very often, did he?
No, and that's on the actual album. Like if you buy the record, it says that on the.
See, I've enjoyed doing this a lot because I've learned things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife that last night. I'm like, man, there's some stuff that I've never even heard. Some of it is familiar to me, a lot of it, but sometimes like that, I didn't know Iommi. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Never met him either.
what's not to love, man? The intro. I mean, it's just heavy metal perfection. If you don't catch yourself headbanging or bouncing to the riffs, you're probably dead inside, is what I wrote. Children of the Grave, Embryo, Children of the Grave. I love Embryo. It's a really cool interlude. The mood's dark. It sets the world for Children of the Grave. Um, it sets the stage for it. um, yeah, it's a banger. Orchid. Um, Beautiful. Love it. Um, I love the alternating rhythms and the progressions within it. Lord of this World. Uh, I feel the same way about Lord of this World as I did when I was a kid, little Dave. So is what I noted. It's perfection. You simply can't deny its influence in creating the genre. Uh, Solitude. Love this song. And I love how it takes a few notches from its brutal predecessor. I remember the first time hearing it, I wasn't even sure if it was Ozzy singing that because Ozzy sounds really not like Ozzy typically sounds.
No, he was doing a
So,
different vocal
yeah,
style.
and the effect, I was like, wow, is that Ozzy? So it kind of threw me. Uh, I mean, I learned long, long time ago that it's actually indeed Ozzy, but yeah, even now when I listen to it again, I'm like, wow, that's Ozzy. But I guess that was about Geezer coming out of a bad relationship or whatever, and I love it. Musical melancholy at its best. Into the Void. Uh, that's pretty self-explanatory. Um, I love it. I mean, like I said, this Masters of Reality as a whole was probably the album. I think, and they did downtune
Even
even
further.
further with this album. So I think due to Iommi having, from his accident, having uh, obviously as their popularity went and they were playing their asses off more frequently, I think Iommi found it a little um, hard on him, the pace, the grind. So to alleviate some of the pain I think he was experiencing, they downtuned yet again, which I mean, I remember the first time hearing it after listening, the predecessor, like I was like, holy shit. And I think this album is the album, that really just like it just sealed that doom heavy metal, and
Well,
especially for today's doom
Yeah, of
And,
course. I mean,
you know,
yeah, I agree. I agree.
it's a masterpiece album, I think. It's appropriately named Master of Reality, and it's a master album, I think, out of their discography. I love it.
I
Love it. Love
I
it.
I don't disagree. Like I said, I think the first three,
Put him back on. It's irritating, man. It's hard for me to feel any kind of connection if I can't.
he needs to see all this, Metal Mike.
Yeah, well, it's just, I need to be like, there's somebody, I just feel like I'm on the phone.
Yeah, yeah. The first three Sabbath albums are just bone crushing, if you ask me. Anyway, Sweet
Right, they
Leaf,
are.
stoner classic, dude. If you don't like this song, then you're like you said, you've obviously never smoked a joint or hit a bong or anything.
Right.
After Forever just rules. Embryo, it's a great little instrumental intro to Children of the Grave, which is an absolute banger of a jam.
Yeah, it's
Orchid, it's a
beautiful.
real cool instrumental. Lord of this World, I absolutely love it. Solitude, again, another winner. It's going to be a lot of this with Sabbath. They're just one of those bands. They don't put
I
out
know, man.
misses.
I feel like I should just stop reading anything because
Yeah,
I'm just going to say the same fucking thing
yeah.
over. It's awesome.
Just thumbs up. And Into the Void, come
It's
on.
awesome.
That song absolutely rules. It's a great closer. And seems like it's a deep cut. It's like the casuals don't know this song. And it's like,
Hmm.
go listen to this album. I don't care if you skip to the end, skip everything. You've heard Children of the Grave
Right, right,
anyway.
right,
You've heard Sweet Leaf. Go listen to Into the Void.
right. I agree.
Song rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. It's a masterpiece of an album.
Hmm.
All right, man. For me, yeah, everything you guys said, I'm 100% on board with. Because to me, this album, like the first Sabbath album, even the first two influenced all metal. To me, not only did they create metal, but they almost created subgenres because every doom metal, every
Yeah.
stoner metal band,
Right.
I mean, it's Black Sabbath, okay? It's just, um and this is my personal favorite Sabbath album. This is the album that
It's one of mine,
and the
definitely.
reason why is because it was the first album record that or Sabbath record I owned because our neighbor Kevin, he had an old beat up used copy of it, and I was at the trailer and he was listening to it,
Hmm.
and I'm rocking out to it, and he goes, "You really like this record, don't you?" And I go, "I love it." And he takes it off turntable and he puts it in the slipcase. He goes, "Here, buddy." And I'm like shocked. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Bro, I got another one, man. Don't worry about it." And I mean, dude, so for that reason alone, sentimental reasons, but God, it's just a masterpiece. I mean, you got the legendary opening track, which just sets the tone for the album. After Forever, fucking epic. And another thing, Sabbath always got this, oh, they seen about the devil. Well, here's a song where it's about a guy who's found God, and he's basically
Right.
saying, look,
Yeah.
man, you need to change your ways like I did, or you're going to be in big trouble, man.
Right.
Love it. Um, of course, Embryo, an amazing intro instrumental. To me, though, it is, even though it's a separate track, to me, it is the intro to Children of the Grave, which is just a bludgeoning
Yeah, I
track.
love the drast, that
Yeah. Yeah. The contrast.
polar,
Yeah.
yeah, like shift.
Which is
It's great.
something that Sabbath, in my opinion, kind of invented.
Exactly. Yeah.
And bands like Metallica took. I mean, hello, Fight Fire with Fire, that intro. Yeah, it's total Sabbath
Yeah.
worship. Okay. Yeah, I said it.
Sepultura
Anyway,
did it a lot too.
yeah, Sepultura, every great band has because that's what you do. You follow the blueprint. Um, but this Children of the Grave, I think Bill Ward is like the star on that track. The drumming that he is doing on
I
that
agree.
track
Yeah.
is just insane. And you're just like the whole time you're listening, man, you're just like this just keeps getting better and better. Then you go into the beautiful instrumental by Tony, Orchid, which
I
is
love
just
working.
a phantasmagorical track as far as I'm concerned. Or actually it serves as a beautiful intro to the next phantasmagorical track, and that is Lord of this
Yeah.
World. Just fucking amazing. And the other thing I love about Sabbath and their lyrical content is the little twists and turns they would take. Where you have NIV, where the devil is like, "Hey, I'm going to change because you're an amazing woman." You make this one's about a dude selling his soul to the devil, and the devil's all like, "You turn to me." That's how the song ends. The whole time he's talking about how this guy's just a basically an evil piece of shit, and then at the very end, you turn to me in all your worldly greed and pride, but will you turn to me when it's your turn to die? Dude, that's just so fucking metal, man. It's awesome. And then you have Solitude again, showcasing their versatility, showing that they could be just as trippy as they were heavy, psychedelic folk almost. And I really love the delay effect Ozzy used on his vocals on this song. Phenomenal. And then you've got one of my all-time favorite Sabbath tracks. And I have an interesting story. When I saw Sabbath for the first time, Bill Ward had not joined that reunion yet. For whatever reason. I don't know why it didn't happen. And they had Mike Borden, Ozzy's
Sharon.
Maybe, but I think if I remember,
that was more of a Bill thing.
No, I think Bill had a recent heart attack.
There was something going on.
He wasn't.
Let me rag on Sharon, okay? She takes it from everybody else. I can give her one.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Well, look,
but I'm just saying. Sharon's. I love her, but I get why some people are put off or have a dislike.
She's a manager. She's done her job, and
her daddy,
nothing from nothing. She kept Ozzy alive.
Right.
She's still trying to prop him up sometimes.
Tony Iommi.
Yeah,
we wouldn't even have gotten the Heaven and Hell version of Black Sabbath without her. So you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. With this song, though, man, I'll never forget. So it was the first Ozfest. Not the very first, because I think he only did 2 shows, one in Cali and one, I think, in Phoenix. The following year, though, he does the tour, comes to St. Louis. When Ozzy announced, the next track we're going to do is Into the Void, me and my buddy Jason Hams, we all went insane, right? Our whole row of people. This guy behind me with this black chick goes, man, they must be a fan of that song. I've never even heard of it. You don't know how bad I want to just turn around without even looking at him and grab him by his carotid artery.
He said that?
Some morons. I mean, it shouldn't be that way because that's the elitist coming out of me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? But
how does Into the Void escape your?
He redeemed himself by going, I'll see why those guys, because he kind of had it redneck. I'll see why those guys like this song so much, man. That fucking rule. I'm like, dude, Master of Reality, buy the album, dude. Yeah. Don't just be a compilation guy. And he gave me a high five. So he redeemed himself. But at first I was going, dude, serious? But that's how serious I take my Black Sabbath, man. So
yeah. Sorry if I got like too deep.
You are fine.
But part of the reason I did it too is it's my liver is not like I have health issues. I've noticed like the last year and a half or so, my memory is really bad, dude. And it's like it's hard for me to if I get off subject, I can't get back. Sometimes I'm just like, duh.
Right.
So I had little notes here. I think I'm going to make smaller notes because I feel like when I'm doing it, I'm going on.
I want you to not do that because we're not hurting for time here.
Okay, because
I'm all like
historian Dave, like I'm Ken Burns.
He's trying to say, dude, I do a podcast with your brother.
Yeah, I keep an eye on the time. We're at 1 hour and 23 right now. We typically do between an hour and a half. We're going to be a little over that. But you can't say that, and then we're about to go into volume 4. You can't cut the shit short because I want to know what you think about it.
Oh, I'll let you know
that, dude. But you're our guest, man, and I just kind of feel like if you want to fucking
later though, you got to put a cape on me like James Brown.
There you go, dude.
I'm gonna dance.
You're gonna get down.
I am. I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get down. I'm like James Brown, and you're gonna put a cape on me.
That's awesome, dude.
Is that awesome?
I'll do that.
All right. Anyway, we're going to do volume 4, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Say I've got Mike that it's released in September of 72 by Vertigo again.
Volume 4, yeah.
It's the first Sabbath album not to be produced by Roger Bain.
Yep. The band produced it themselves.
Iommi actually assumed production duties. This is quite an album, man. After reading about it, I learned some stuff with this too. This is one This is I had a good time reviewing this one. Probably because I'm not as familiar with all the details as the three predecessors. Those albums I know very, very well, and I know this album, but not as deep.
Right.
Anyway, let's see. The first thing about like you got with Wheels of Confusion, the first thing that's different to me is the song showcases a much more experimental, progressive, a more progressive Black Sabbath. Um, I think that's because Iommi being in charge of I think Iommi shines throughout this album as a guitar player. I think he's growing, like his knowledge, his overall playing ability. The last 2.5 minutes of the Wheels of Confusion, especially showcases Iommi and him shooting for the stars. So I loved it, man. Tomorrow's Dream. Um, it's a personal favorite of mine, has been for years. It is a major go-to song for me from
Right.
Sabbath catalog. Um, I love the opening riff. I love the gallop-like structure of it, and lyrically, it's very easy to identify with the lyrics. So I love it. Changes. What's not to say about Changes? I mean, it's one of the most incredible, I think, incredible ballads ever. Apparently, it was inspired by Bill Ward's divorce.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
uh, and I love it.
Know that.
Yeah, I love it because of Ozzy's vocal performance in it is to me just
One of his best.
and especially as everything being stripped down to just the piano and strings. And uh yeah, I mean Ozzy's vocal performance, I have noted, provokes every hair on my neck to stand up. It's just like I feel it. No ignoring it. And I love the mournful cry of the chorus. The song, changes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just it goes right through you.
Yeah.
FX I found to be a little bit weird. I write it off as too many drugs, which they were having pumped into the studio or them recording in their cabinets. Lots and lots of cocaine
On the
done
back of
during the
the
recording.
says special thanks to the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's like FX. I was kind of like, was this an accident? Like they just like, or did they do it for their own self-abusement? Which is what I'm gonna say the latter. I think it. Okay, I don't know what that is. You can cover it. Supernaut, another great song. It's one of Frank Zappa and John Bonham's favorite Black Sabbath songs. Um,
With reason, it fucking rules.
uh, as Zapp and Bonham cited, it's got that chugging, heavy riff. It's definitely a song that you don't have to try hard to enjoy. It's fun. It covers the drug culture, and it's just badass solo riffing, man. I mean, Iommi really rips ass throughout it.
Yeah.
Snowblind, obviously, we know what that's about. I mentioned that cocaine, lots of cocaine. I love the metaphorical lyrics, or the what's the word I'm looking for, Mike? And basically comparing cocaine high or addiction to being
Metaphor.
in
It's a
in
metaphor.
in the tundra in the winter.
Yeah, it's
Metaphorical,
a
yeah,
I'd
beautiful. I love that use of the wordplay. Cornucopia. Uh, this was a song apparently I wasn't aware of, but Bill Ward struggled with.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of complex time changes, and I guess Ward really struggled to the point where the guys made him a little self-conscious about it. Um, it's not a good memory for Bill Ward trying to figure this song out, apparently. Um,
Probably one they never played live.
um, um, I loved the downshift in tempo about halfway through, for them to pick right back up again. And I loved, oh, wait, I did critique Ozzy. I didn't like how he did the verse in it. The verse kind of is kill, Ozzy being a master of melodies. I still find the verse a little odd. Um, Not bad. It's not like it's a turnoff. I just find it like, because I don't know about anybody like when I would play with people or I would sing, it's not the way I would have approached it, but I find it strange how Ozzy did it.
Question how Ozzy does.
But I mean, well, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, when I would always play something when I was with people playing, I always gave it the Sabbath comparison. Like if it's not Ozzy worthy, it wasn't worthy,
Nice.
and I'd be like, it's got to go. Like it's saying, like, and I felt that way about the Sabbath and the Beatles. Like if it ain't worthy, then but I found it weird how he did the verse in that. I just
Okay,
yeah. Why you got a problem with that, buddy?
kind of.
Do you?
No, I wouldn't say I got a problem with it. I just agree
Oh,
with you.
you know what you can do, dude.
Whatever.
Hang off my nuts. That's what you can do. Swing off these nuts,
You can wrap
boy.
it up, dude.
Anyway, even though I found the verse a bit odd, I say that I really enjoyed it overall. You asshole. Anyway,
Go ahead.
how do you say it? Laguna, I guess.
Laguna
Yeah,
Sun.
I love it. Beautiful. I wished it would have went on longer. I wished it would have had a bit more progression, changes. But I absolutely, yeah, it's a gem, instrumental wise. I love it. Uh, Saint Vitus or whatever dance.
Titus's dance.
It's, it's probably my least favorite song on the album. And I've always found it a little weird. I mean, Ozzy does some cool vocal stuff, but it's not my fave. But decent song overall. I mean, it's not so bad. I got to skip it. And then Under the Sun, wow, okay. It's definitely one of the proto doom metal songs ever. In fact, it's been covered by many doom metal bands. And I mean, it's perfection to me. I love the shifting rhythms, solos, lyrics. Osborne and Butler delivered the goods. And if you don't enjoy it, yeah, again, you got to be kind of dead inside a little bit not to enjoy Under the Sun. I mean, if you're into sludgy, heavy music, that's a must have. I mean, in your collection, you got to
For sure.
in your
Yeah.
playlist. It's great. Anyway, that's it
All
for the
right.
old man.
For me, Wheels of Confusion. I mean, it's a good opener. It's a bit long. I
Yeah,
don't like waiting to
it
get
is.
to that last 2 minutes.
I
Uh,
agree with that.
Tomorrow's Dream. I really dig that one. Changes.
Yeah.
It's
Charles Minson.
amazing. One of Ozzy's best vocal performances. And I said
Mm,
last night talking about Diary of a Madman that Ozzy doesn't get enough credit as a vocalist. Even
yeah.
back then, he's showing how dynamic his range actually is. What he doesn't
Yeah.
have vibrato. It doesn't matter. He has tone.
Yeah, I
He
don't.
has depth. He's amazing. This is an amazing song, and I really love the version he does with his daughter. Fucking bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah, yeah, Kelly. Yeah.
FX, it's the intro to Supernaut, and you're right, it's weird. Get off the coke, guys. Um,
I know, right? Strange. What is it?
Supernaut is just absolutely killer, dude. That thing just pounds you right in the old ear holes.
Yeah,
Snowblind to me is only decent, but I don't skip it. Cornucopia for me is the hidden gem on this album. What
yeah. It's a good
great,
song.
great track. Laguna Sunrise, beautiful instrumental. I absolutely dig the phrasings in it. St. Vitus Dance, I can skip it. I don't care much for that. And
Yeah,
yeah, Under the Sun, what a great way to close out the album. It's definitely
it's
sludgy.
a great closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the hell out of it. But yeah,
Smacks you around.
Cornucopia, look that one up for all you that just go on the YouTubes and the Spotify's. Listen to that song.
Yeah, it's great.
Fucking A.
But the thing, like I was talking here a while back, Stones came up and we were talking about certain bands. I can listen to the songs that, even though they're not great, are as great as some of the other parts of their discography. I can get through the playlist or the overall. I go through the albums, and Sabbath is one of those bands. Like, yeah, I'll hear cut. There's a cut on some of the albums where I'm kind of like, but I'm not gonna like skip it. I'll let it play out, and I'll still get things out of it. There's good things in there, but they're not all artists are like that. I mean, the
Yeah.
Who is one of those bands for me where I either like it or I don't. And Stones are like that, and there's no middle ground or gray area for me. It's like I either like it or
Right.
shit. And Sabbath library, like the Beatles, even, you know, especially in the early day when they were doing covers, like the British releases, I can still include that in a playlist and I can get through them. I'm not like, oh, just can't. Where the Stones, it was hard for me because, the Stones also did a lot of blues, like, they did a lot of covers. And some of them, man, are just, I can't do it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot myself.
Man, I'm
But
sorry. They did it
I
way
know
better than the
not
Beatles.
every, I mean, but everybody's different. But for me, I couldn't do it, you know.
They were
But
more. I always think of the tunes this way. I love the blues. Like, if
yeah,
I have a second favorite genre, it is the blues.
right. I agree.
Probably
Yeah.
why I like the Stones more than I like the Beatles. The Beatles were not a blues band. The
No, no, no,
Stones
no.
were a blues band, man. They worship the blues and it
Yeah.
comes out through
Muddy
their
Waters and
music. Yeah.
yeah, Little Walter.
So that's
Yeah.
probably why I'm a bigger Stones fan. Now I have softened a lot on the Beatles. It used to be, oh, they suck. But I've been
Yeah.
listening to quite a bit of the Beatles lately. Now there's still stuff I just can't. I try and I try and I try.
That's
And I'm like,
cool.
what are you listening to? But there's a lot I really like. On my phone, I've got the double album, the blue one. That's all the hippy dippy drug stuff.
Yeah, it's the
That's
70s
the stuff I used
or
to hate,
late 60s, no, 70s.
and I like most of that now.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Most of it now. Now the stupid
Yeah.
Octopus's Garden is still my favorite Beatles song. I still don't know
Yeah.
what Ringo's talking about. I
I
don't
don't think
understand it,
I don't
but
think Ringo knew it.
Yeah, I don't think Ringo did either, but
no,
Well, didn't they write that for him, or
no,
did
he
he
wrote that.
actually write that?
He
Did
wrote
he
that.
actually
That's
write
his
that?
song.
Because I know Paul
that dude must have
and
tripped in the
John.
pub while he was on LSD.
Yeah, I know Paul and John treated Ringo much in the same manner that, from what I understand, Gene and Paul of Kiss did with Peter. Like they would, like, you got to have that token, you
Yeah.
can't hide back there behind the drums, man. Everybody in the band's got to kind of have a song, like, and
Well, actually, it was Ace that was dragging his feet on Cena, not Peter.
well, no, but I'm saying it was important to Gene and
Yes.
Paul
Oh,
for,
yes. They loved
Peter and everybody to have a song,
Yeah.
and that includes Ace.
And
Yeah,
yeah. So I agree with you because to me that's one thing that
but
separates the Stones from the Beatles. The Beatles all took turns singing. The Stones, I mean, yeah, Keith Richards sang a couple of tunes, but let's be honest, Mick was the front man, and also I think they established that dynamic of the over the top, charismatic front man and the fucking guitarist, the lead guitarist with Mystique. The Stones invented that,
Mhm.
which has been copied by how many bands, man? So
I mean, I love the
oh
Stones.
yeah, don't get me
Don't
wrong. But that's what I'm
don't
saying.
misinterpret
Not just the
what I'm
blues thing. To
saying.
me, the Stones are different because they only
Yeah,
had one singer, really.
Yeah.
right,
It's different than the Beatles. The Beatles, they all took turns, and Kiss
exactly.
wanted to be the heavy metal
Yeah.
Beatles.
Because the Stones
Yeah.
only needed one singer.
Okay, Bush, all right, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. They only needed one singer because
That's been
Keith
with
can't
you.
sing.
But
Yeah,
that
I've never heard.
oh, did you talk about volume 4?
No, I did not.
No, we got to still hit Mikey.
Volume 4 was supposed to be called Snowblind, and they made them change it, and then it even pissed
Right.
me off
Yeah.
even more because it's like you're not gonna change the name to one of the other tracks or Volume 4. And his was, yeah, everybody's gonna think we're trying to rip off fucking Zeppelin. So anyway, recorded May through June of 1972, released September of 72. Wheels of Confusion, fucking an epic opener. I mean, this track just sets the tone for the entire album. Tomorrow's Dream, another masterpiece. This was a song that I always loved when I had the Black Sabbath compilation when I was younger. We sold our souls for rock and roll. It was
Yeah.
on there.
Great.
Always loved that song. Changes. You said it yourself, Bush, one of the greatest ballads ever recorded. Yeah, that's right. Better than Home Sweet Home, bitches. And
Definitely.
Ozzy's vocal performance is the greatest it ever put on record, as far as I'm concerned. Even though you mentioned his vocals on Diary are phenomenal too. And you're right, he
I
don't
want to
get enough
touch on
credit.
that after you're done about Ozzy's vocals.
He doesn't get enough credit. Like even Lita Ford said that she was blown away. Like when they recorded "Close My Eyes Forever," she goes, "The power of his voice." I'm like this way far away from him, and I could just feel it. So yeah, okay, guys, and don't get me wrong, I'm not doing this because I love both of them. Dio is like you said, Dio has the vibrato. Dio has more of a range. No question about that. If you're going to
Totally different thing, though.
but they're two totally different styles. And I think that's what made both those guys great. Tony didn't go, oh shit, I got to find an Ozzy clone. He fucking found
Thank
somebody
God.
that was totally different from Ozzy, man. Kudos to him for doing that, you know.
Smart.
Absolutely.
So yeah, changes. I mean, just it's one of my all-time favorite ballads. I mean, you can feel the pain in Ozzy's voice.
Yeah.
So even though he may not have been going through divorce, I think him and Thelma were pretty estranged, even by that point, his first wife.
Yeah.
And I think Ozzy could relate to
Relate.
it. FX.
Yeah.
Okay, man, I love you guys, but what the fuck is this shit, man? They must have been tripping balls and been up for over
You know what?
a week with no sleep, binging on coke.
It reminds me of when I would be like really fucked up and have my guitar and I'd just like peck on the pickup and make weird.
Interesting.
That's what it is, ain't it? Like
here you go. This was it.
pinging
If
the
I can find
pickups.
it,
Flanger.
FX came out unexpectedly in the studio after smoking hashish. The crucifix hanging from Iommi's neck accidentally struck the strings of his guitar.
There you go.
And the band took an interest in the odd sound produced. An echo effect was added, and the band proceeded to hit the guitar with various objects to generate odd sound effects. Iommi calls the song, quote unquote, a total joke. We were taking the piss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so in that,
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a waste of time and tape, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, okay, move on. Super not.
It's neat as a novelty thing now, all these years. I mean, that's kind of cool.
I mean, dude, this fucking man, Frank Zappa's favorite song, no fucking wonder. It's fucking amazing.
Right.
Snowblind, perfection. I mean, should have been the title track. I love Ozzy's vocals on it. Geezer's lyrics are amazing.
Did you cover that? It apparently had a different album cover that reflected the title.
I didn't
Snowblind, and that they changed it whenever they were out of town or they were out of the record label, out of the country. They changed it to the classic, you know, Ozzy with the fringe. Yeah, like apparently Iommi and them weren't aware that they were swapping, the record company label swapped it out.
Oh,
yeah.
So that was a record company.
So there was a totally different cover, and the name.
Talking to the band first.
Yeah, they just did it.
Nice.
Yeah, which I'm sure that resonated well.
Titled Snowblind, reference to the song.
Yeah.
And Snowblind and the amount of cocaine they were taking while recording. However, according to Geezer, the record label thought this was too edgy and retitled the album Volume 4 and changed the artwork while the band was on vacation. Volume 4's final cover features a monochrome photograph of Ozzy Osbourne, which I do love, with his hands raised.
Iconic now.
Extended, taken during a Black Sabbath concert at Birmingham Town Hall in January of '72.
It's been subject of a lot of parodies too.
The album's original release on Vertigo in the UK, on Warner Brothers in the United States, and on Nippon Phonogram in Japan features a gatefold sleeve with the page glued into the middle. Each band member is given his own photo page with the band on stage at the very center. All photos were from the aforementioned Birmingham gig. All right, the album's original cover art has proved iconic and has been imitated and parodied on several occasions, such as the 1992 Peaceville Volume 4 compilation album, the 1992 Volume 2 EP by the band Sleep, Longmont Potion Castle Volume 4 by the prank caller Longmont Potion Castle, and the 1994 Planet Caravan EP by Pantera. Oh, listen to this. The US 8-track tape and cassette releases of the album feature an alternate artwork, a yellow background with Ozzy silhouetted in black.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
cool.
There you go, man. Snowblind's perfection, cornucopia. A riffacopia is fucking more like it. And Bill Ward just rules on this track. I know he initially had a hard time cracking this one, but man, did he.
Yeah, it is great.
The other thing I wanted to mention about Supernaut, my favorite part of the song, though, is at 2:57 when the guitar just stops playing and they just let Bill Ward do his thing and it gets all tribal and shit. Like me, Sabbath was doing tribal even before Sepultura, man. Even though I know Sepultura did it because of their, you know, heritage.
Is this at the stage where Ward even had his hair kind of like braided, like a tribal, like a
like the hair braids? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks almost like he was
were fucking ahead of their time.
They
Laguna
were.
Sunrise, beautiful acoustic instrumental. St. Vitus's Dance. It's a cool track. To me, it's filler though. Killer
Right.
filler,
I
but
feel
still
like
filler. And then Under the Sun, which in Europe is also known, or in their first American release, Under the Sun / Everyday Comes
that
and Goes.
riff.
Just a killer closing track that leaves you wanting more. And Soulfly does an amazing
Oh,
job.
they did. Yeah, well, like a lot of Sabbath still translates well.
That you were mentioning, but man, Soulfly, and also check out Sepultura's version of Symptom of the Universe. But we'll talk about more of that
that's
in
great.
the next Sabbath retrospective we do. Nearly a perfect album, and to me, they're sister albums. I feel a lot of bands have what I call sister albums. To me, the first Sabbath record and Paranoid are sister albums. Master Reality and Volume 4 are sister albums, and I feel very much the next way with the next 4. I think Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage are sister albums, and I think
I agree with that.
and Never Say Die are definitely sister albums. They're kind of they're different, but they're still similar.
Right.
And I think a lot of bands do that. I think Kiss did that.
Yeah.
I think that you go through a lot of bands' discography, and I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, remember the Sabbath and keep it fucking black, dudes. You know, and you know, to Sabbath and Ozzy, I love you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably purchase that concert. I'll probably get the
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna buy it live because I'm on call that weekend, unfortunately. But I want to see it. I feel like I have to. I probably
I want to see it because I've never seen Ozzy in the first place, so I've obviously never seen Sabbath, and I'm not going to make it to England,
Right.
so I'm going to end up purchasing.
Yeah, it's just sad that
I mean, to me, it's gonna
it's kind of the end. Like, they're all getting old and they got health issues,
and
and
plus he's got some serious health issues, and
not sure why some people are being so demanding
well, here's the other thing that pisses me off.
of what do you think you're going to get?
Is getting one last look at him. Hey, fuck sticks, morons. I have my opinions of Sharon, and not all of them are
They
positive.
got their money.
But
They don't need money. It's not about
for this is going to charity.
Yeah.
Dumb fucks.
It's more about Ozzy
Just
being
shut up already.
trapped with that disease
Yeah.
and missing
disease.
his life. That was his life. I mean, like I said, I think the last time I was here, like, he was a kid. You grow up with all that adulation, that energy from playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. I mean, to not grieve for that,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel sorry. I mean, you're talking about like Ozzy. To me, he was miserable when he was on the road to a certain extent because living on the road is hard, but he was getting to do what he loved and he had all that adulation. But when he would try to go home, like when he did the retirement thing, he was miserable
Yeah.
because Ozzy's just kind of like a shark. He's
got to keep moving.
I got to keep moving. Yeah. Like,
and now he's being forced to stop moving. And I think we'll end up losing Ozzy once he can't perform at all anymore. If we can't get him into the studio and creating at all, I think we're going to lose him pretty quick.
Right.
And
sucks.
The other thing I want to throw out there is for a lot of these older musicians and artists, it's hard, guys, because that's all they know. They don't know anything else. So, while you can, and I get it sometimes too, where especially when you see a guy past their prime and it's almost painful to watch them sometimes. But at the same time, to me, it's like, I think speaking for myself, a lot of times when I went to see those bands that were I'm like, okay, you may not be what you were, but for all the amazing music you've given us, for all the great memories, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's where I'm at with.
Well, I mean, that should be your headspace. If you're going to go see the Stones today and think that you're going to see the Rolling Stones of the 60s or 70s, get the fuck out. You're not going to see the exact same band.
No.
Or,
but Keith is, or not Keith, Mick's still goose stepping around that stage, man. He's still
and David Lee Roth still tries to do
old.
the best he can, but get the fuck out. You're not going to see the David Lee Roth that you got on.
No, of course not.
to see David Lee Roth. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, that's
about
awesome, man. I love
that.
Dave.
So yeah, man, Black Sabbath, they rule.
Yeah.
Um,
Ozzy's vocals. Um, it's weird with Ozzy. I'm sure depending on his the shape he was in, his performances probably did. I've heard some people complain, old schoolers, like, well, he sounded shit to me. Well, I don't know where Ozzy was then, like the drugs and the life and the run, obviously, you got to kind of take care of yourself. Ozzy, I don't think, even though I've read, he did try to refrain from drinking and going on stage sober, but I don't know if that was accomplished every time. But every time I ever seen the guy, he sounded great. And if you go on YouTube and just do like some Google, like most of the live stuff that you'll hear, even the Sabbath, like Ozzy sounds good. It's
Yeah.
Ozzy. I don't know what the fuck the problem is. Like, and
Yeah.
you can't expect, out of Maynard from Tool touched on an interview with Rogan. He's like, I can't do what I did when I recorded those first albums. I mean, I try the best I can, but I have limitations now.
Yeah.
Age. It's called getting old.
Right. Ozzy is, I think he's unique because his vocal stylings are unique.
Mhm. Only one Ozzy.
Because you can down tune him even more and he can stay in there. He can stay in the pocket really well.
Right.
He's never been a virtuoso vocalist. I'm okay with that. His
Yeah,
voice
I've never
works. Like
said
I
that.
said, he doesn't have the vibrato and all that, but he's
Right.
never flat. You know what I
No.
mean?
Gets the
Especially in
job
studio.
done.
Especially in studio.
Yeah.
It works. It works for the sound. That's why I like Zach Wilde so much. Because if anybody's going to cover Ozzy, Zach's the guy to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's
Yeah,
one thing I always thought was
I'm-
fortuitous when he joined Ozzy. Is I was like, not only is he an amazing guitarist, but he was great at doing backup vocals with Ozzy.
Yeah.
It really enhanced the performance, especially
Yeah.
as Ozzy got older. And Zach
Yeah.
was like, boss, I don't mind picking up some of the weight, man. Because there was one behind the scenes where he's like, boss, it ain't 1992. Hell, it ain't even 2002 anymore, if you know what I mean. I can't hit some of those notes.
Right.
And Ozzy was like bickering, griping, but it was hilarious.
Right.
And,
Ozzy.
yeah, I mean, Ozzy rules, Sabbath rule.
I don't know. The people out there that want to get pissy about what's getting ready to transpire with the back to the beginning or whatever, I think you're in the wrong headspace. Like I don't know. I think you're asking and expecting far too much.
Right.
Like I don't
You're
get
looking for
it.
something
I
that
don't
just
understand
absolutely
what the
can't
fuck is your
happen.
problem, kind of thing. Like, really?
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't like it, then don't go and don't buy the fucking streaming. The fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah, wait for someone to put it on YouTube and then you can
Shut
go
the
and
fuck
make your
up.
stupid comments later.
Go listen to something else.
I mean, if you're not that big of a Sabbath or Ozzy fan, that's fine. You don't.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and if
Sure.
you aren't as interested in watching them in their later years saying goodbye and kind of the best they can gracefully exit, then fuck you. Who needs you? Like, go. Like, don't go. I mean, it's just kind of stupid to me. Like, I don't get it. Because I've seen several people online and on YouTube have some really, in my opinion, ignorant shit.
Oh yeah.
Or stupid. Ignorance when you don't know better. They know better. Like you should know better than to
It's
say
just
something.
it's so easy because you could put it out there so easy. You can make your snide little snippets. It's like, oh, I'm really being, I'm being edgy here. I'm just keeping it real. It's like, shut up, dude. It's
Keeping
not
it
like we don't
real.
know the man's old and has Parkinson's.
Like, yeah, like who the fuck at this point don't
Yeah.
know exactly what it is?
Like you're nobody.
Yeah.
Years ago, man,
You're not even a hash mark in Osborne's fucking underoos. Fuck off.
Picture of David Lee Roth, and it was David now, and the guy kind of made fun of the way he looked, and I immediately chimed in and said he also fucking saw things and did things that your dumbass and my dumbass is only read about in fucking books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
He's actually manifested and lived out your fantasy. A lot of your fantasy. And that's all they're ever going to be for you is fantasy.
He's banged more quiff and done more drugs and he's lived life to the fucking fullest. He's David Lee Roth, and he has nothing to prove to anybody.
No,
absolutely not.
Like, and neither does Black Sabbath. Okay.
No.
So just shut the fuck up. When you've fucking done a discography like this, when you've done anything even remotely as great as those guys, then criticize motherfuckers.
Right.
I agree.
Here ended the fucking meltdown.
Well, Scapegoat, thanks for coming on. I can't wait to have you back next week as
I love you guys.
Up this quick dive into Sabbath. There's a lot of Sabbath out there, but we're concentrating on the original Sabbath, the Sabbath Mach 1.
Yeah, which is my personal fave. But
of course,
same, and mine too. I do like the Dio, and
I love Dio. I love Ronnie, but it's totally different. Yeah,
especially once Bill left and Vinny came in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I love Vinny Appice. Like, let's not get it twisted, guys. Don't get it. You Dio dice that want to fucking crucify me. I'm not ripping on RJD. I love RJD.
Oh yeah, I love. But the reason I love him is because he's such a world apart from Osborne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it worked. Let's be honest. If everybody would have went and got Heaven and Hell and it would have been an Ozzy clone, everybody instantly would have been turned off.
And you know what?
Yeah,
because the majority would be turned off.
Yeah, why get rid of Ozzy then?
I know. Exactly.
He would have got the Tim Ripper Owens treatment.
Exactly.
And the flip side of that,
I didn't listen to that era.
Would have felt the same way if Ozzy would have said, "I've got to find a Tony clone.
Yeah,
I've got to find a Bill and Geezer clone."
Right.
He didn't. What he wanted to do, and he said it. He goes, "I saw Van Halen touring with us. I wanted to do what Sabbath was doing and combine it with that West Coast heavy sound," and that's what he did.
Yeah,
that's what he did on those albums with Randy, and even Jakey Lee to a certain extent, because Jakey Lee came from the same fucking scene, man. There is one thing I want to plug real quick while we're talking about Sabbath. There's 3 amazing documentaries that it's a YouTube channel called The Tapes Archive, and they've done 3 of them, and they're fucking phenomenal. One's on Sabotage, and the other one's on Master of Reality, and the other one's on Volume 4. I highly recommend them, man. Very informative and tells you things. I mean, you really get into. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'll check.
Dude.
Yeah, send the link to me too, and when I put this up next week, I'll throw those down in the description. So let's get links.
Well, Scapegoat, big brother, thanks for hanging out with us and doing this.
Pleasure,
it's been a blast.
I had fun.
Oh yeah,
I love talking music,
especially Black Sabbath.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, I had a real good time. Look, don't change how you do your notes for next week because
I just kind of. Well, Mike makes me feel bad, like I'm like being anal retentive about my review. Like he's so mean to me, Bush.
Dude, he's mean to me too. So
like on the way here, he wouldn't even buy me a soda. He said, "Fuck you, fat boy." I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? God, I'm the guy that looked out for you.
He's probably not even going to throw a burger down your throat on the way home, is he? What a prick.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck.
If I could, I'm broke right now.
What am I going to do with this guy? Probably buying a tire swing.
Here we go. Here comes the Miguel of the Gorilla Silverback.
You didn't know Mike when he was like pumping iron. My brother was pretty scary for quite a while, man. He really did have that gorilla. Like when he walked, it was like Jungle Book shit. I'm not kidding, dude.
I knew Metal Mike.
Said I looked like a gorilla in the pit because I'd run in the pit.
Yeah.
Brian's like, look at you.
His shoulders and neck just got, you know how gorillas are.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to tell from like where the back of the head stops and the neck. Like,
yeah,
that's where Mike was for a while.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
So that's the era where not so much now. But
no, I've lost a lot of weight.
You're not as.
I didn't even when I first saw Metal Mike, because I hadn't seen him in 2 years because they didn't do a Rockin' Pod last year.
Right.
Holy hell, there's half of you.
I know, right?
I know.
He's kind of got me a little worried about the weight. I mean, I know with, like his diabetes, it's one of the things that happens.
Well, that's what Dr. Hatley says causes.
But yeah, I really,
was exercise.
But yeah, man, Mike did like when he still, even now, like he'll walk in the house and I'll be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a little bit. I'll be like, man, Mike's just gotten A lot
I would
smaller.
like to bulk up again, though, but just got to find the time to do it. Quit
I
being a
hear you.
pussy. I discipline Metal Mike. Anyway, folks,
All
thanks
right.
for hanging out with us. We will do our part 2 next week. Bushy, always a pleasure. You motherfucker.
Can we start a GoFundMe for Mike to buy new chairs?
Keep fighting the good fight and stay metal to your dying breath.
Absolutely. Also, don't forget our sponsor. Check them out. By the time we record next week, I'll have a little more information to give you regarding said sponsor. I'll have that information Saturday. So by next week, you'll get a little more information on them. The Plug Podcast is the promo code, save 10%. Hydration drink. So it's not all energy drinks. And it's the coffee fruit that they use. They use the actual fruit. No sugar added. So Metal Mike is something you can look into. Buy vinyl. Scapegoat, thanks for being here. And we will
Thank you.
see you
Had a good
guys
time.
next time.